Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whenever or wherever you're watching or listening. This is the Awesemo NHL DFS Strategy Show, and I'm your host, Michael Clifford, aka Slim Cliffy. Joining me today to help bring down Jabba the Hutt's crime syndicate, our single entry bounty hunter, Mr. Joshua Harris. Josh, how you doing today, buddy?
I cannot take down any crime syndicate until I drink my cotton candy bang. This is not a paid promotion, but please sponsor the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Bang. We are reaching out once again on this Saturday morning. Please throw some dollars our way for a sponsor on our show. We will drink your energy drink every single Saturday. Believe us. 12-game slate ahead of us. We have a really big slate. Before we get too much further, I'd say if everybody could throw us a thumbs up, but I think almost everybody in chat has thrown us a thumbs up so far. So good for you guys. Click that subscription button. Really helps us grow the subscriber base of this channel and keeps these videos coming on a near daily basis. I would like to mention we are sponsored by Yahoo Fantasy. They bring us our shows almost every day. We do have a special little giveaway for first-time users for Yahoo Fantasy, so be sure to stick around for that little giveaway from Yahoo a little bit later. Let's talk about last night's slate real quick. Did not go well for myself. You ended up cashing at the end, kind of had a stat correction that didn't go your way. It was a weird slate because none of the big guns really did anything. I mean, I guess Leon Draisaitl had a couple goals. Austin Matthews obviously had the overtime winner, but nobody really exploded big time last night. There was just a lot of depth goals. So you kind of had to have the right defenseman and right goalies and things like that.
Yeah. Really dusty is the only way I could describe it. I guess Garnett Hathaway was in the winning lineup, so that's all you need to know. I also lost the 444 ticket on an Andrew Ladd goal in the year 2021, so that's all you need to know about the slate. We were talking about stat corrections yesterday, and of course we got one not in our favor, and of course I dragged Dylan Cousins and he double donged. So moving on to absolutely destroy something on this slate right now.
Yeah, a little bit of a tough night for a lot of. Well, I know for myself at least. I saw some people in chat, tough cash game nights again. When those players don't go off, it's not easy. It's pretty easy to have a minus 75% night or something like that in DFS. But hopefully we can turn this around very quickly because we have like I said, we have a monster slate on the docket ahead today. Just real quick, what are your thoughts looking at a slate this big? We do have, I think the thing that sticks out to me the most here is that we do have some pretty, I'd say sizable road totals. Minnesota, 2.9 on the road, higher than Seattle at home. New York, your Rangers, 3.0 on the road, higher than Columbus at home. Obviously, Toronto and Pittsburgh, big road favorites as well. How do you approach a slate like this where, seems like nearly half the games, the road teams are favored, and that could kind of mess up ownership a little bit?
Yeah, and there's obviously it's 9 a.m. Eastern, and we don't have an ownership run yet, but there is some obvious chalky spots tonight. There's also a lot of back-to-backs. So the one thing that I will say that I like when the road teams have higher favorites is you do get cheap goalies at home, which I like. So, the cheaper goalies at home see the volume. I don't know if home has an advantage anymore, but I always feel more comfortable clicking in a cheaper home goalie than a cheap road goalie. I don't know. It must be a mental thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're just more likely to win at home. I think the home away advantage has kind of gone down over the last few years, but the last, when I looked over the summer, there was still a home advantage in terms of penalties and goal scoring and all that. So you're right. I think that's one thing to note here is that with the heavy road favorites, you can get the cheap home goalies, and teams at home are just more likely to win. That's just the way it is in, I think, every single sport on the planet. So let's get to these games. We do have, like I said, 12 games to get to, and if you guys could give us a like and subscribe before we go any further, it'll help keep you guys up to date on our DFS offers and giveaways and a whole lot more. We do have free premium tools and data up on the site as we normally do. We have week 10 NFL top stacks, NBA player rankings for tonight, NHL player projections, MMA fighter rankings for tonight's card and our college basketball DFS projections, which will be free until Tuesdays. And if you're playing NBA DFS tonight, be sure to check out Adam Scherr's NBA Deep Dive article, which is the most in-depth and free NBA DFS article anywhere. And you were writing this week's MMA article as well, right?
I do, MMA bets it got published last night because it's a 1 p.m. lock, but normally it gets published around this time Saturday mornings. It's a free article. Check it out. If
there you go.
Tag me on Twitter, yell at me. But just
Josh is the modern man. He is multi-talented. He can do it all: hockey, MMA, what have you.
All the bets that I write up, though, I bet myself. So if you lose, I'm losing as well. So just keep that in mind.
that's the way we do it in DFS too. So chances are, if you guys don't have a good night, we won't either. Let's start talking about these games, and let's get to a big one right out of the gate. Toronto Maple Leafs 3.6 implied goal total. They're going into Buffalo. The Sabres have a 2.6 implied goal total. This is going to be a back-to-back for both teams, obviously. Looks like Aaron Dell will probably start for the Sabres. Joseph Woll, who is a rookie NHL goalie, is going to be starting for Toronto. Buffalo, they've definitely taken a step back from the first couple weeks of the season, but they're not an awful team. This Buffalo Sabres team is not, those awful Sabres teams we saw 6 and 7 years ago. They have players that can skate and score and at least play defense. So there's at least something to talk about here. So what do you think about this game, Josh?
Yeah, normally like on this big of a slate, I'd just be like, back-to-back on the road. Both these teams are on a back-to-back, and it's just the Leafs are really expensive. But the thing is, like, Aaron Dell, Joseph Woll, like, I think because of these backup goalies, it's kind of drawing some interest to me. Obviously, I like the Matthews line here. They are expensive. They're 21,000 full stack. Michael Bunting only had a shot on goal yesterday, so he kind of burned the full stack there. But I think this is a scenario where you go back or you power play stack. It is going to be very expensive. I would imagine there's going to be some ownership on the Leafs. Like 5-game slate yesterday, the Leafs were pretty low owned, and Matthews and Nylander did the thing. So I would imagine getting the Sabres, who are also on a back-to-back, it's going to bump the Toronto ownership. But I don't mind Toronto 1, Toronto power play. And again, it really depends. If they send out Tage Thompson against Matthews, like, that just takes me off that line. So if that's
I just want to mention that they did put Dylan Cousins out last night quite a bit against Connor McDavid. Yeah. So I imagine it's going to be the Cousins line against Matthews.
So, yeah. Oh yeah. I talked about that yesterday. Short memory loss here. So
and then Dylan Cousins scored twice.
Yeah. Oh boy. I don't mind going back to Buffalo one here. They're not super expensive. They're fully correlated. Don't go crazy, but I would have them in my MME mix.
Yeah. What sticks out to me about that matchup is, like, Dylan Cousins and his line mates, they haven't been really great this year. Like, I don't understand the desire to necessarily get that matchup. Like, even when Jeff Skinner and Vinny Hinostroza were there, they were break-even line at best. And I think Skinner and Hinostroza are probably their 2 best defensive wingers, if not 2 of their 4 best. So, like, it's not going to get a whole lot better for Dylan Cousins. I just think if you're going to send out Cousins against the Matthews-Nylander matchup, I want Matthews and Nylander, and I want quite a bit of them here tonight. I just wonder about the ownership, because 3.6 total, but it is on the road, and there are some, there are other expensive spots here tonight. There is Colorado, there is Tampa Bay, there is Florida, like, there is Pittsburgh. There are enough decent spots to maybe chip away at some of that Toronto ownership. So I really like Matthews and Nylander again here tonight. Like, that line has just been absolutely rolling. They're still generating, I think it's north of 80 shot attempts per 60 minutes. So no concerns about that Toronto top line coming through. So I'm with you on them. Like, I if people want to go to Toronto too, because they think they're going to come in with lower ownership, like, I'm not going to argue with that. I just think the Matthews Nylander matchup is going to be a little bit better. On the blue line, you and I have been talking about for a while how we don't really want Toronto defensemen. I mean, we should say Justin Hall is a guy that we could use. He's always, he is a block bonus threat, but I don't There's no Toronto defenseman that I'm running out to play. Certainly not $6,000 Morgan Riley. Is there any other defensemen that stick out to you here?
Like Morgan Riley hasn't done anything since 2003, and his price keeps going up. Like I don't understand. That's like the one algorithm thing that I really don't understand. But yeah, whole Muzzin, if you're in that 3,000 range, I think it's fine. That's really about it from this game. Also, like with Toronto too, they're pricey. Like Tavares Marner, not much cheaper than Matthews Nylander, and you're gonna get the matchup bump with Matthews Nylander. Also, Matthews has been getting a bit unlucky this season too. So like he's still putting up crazy numbers and getting unlucky. So yeah, I'm not going to trash Marner today.
Yeah, it should only mean good things moving forward for Mr. Matthews. I agree with you. All right, let's get to this next game. Pittsburgh 3.1 implied goal total. They're going into Ottawa. The Sens have a 2.5 implied goal total. Should remind everybody that Ottawa is still going through all their COVID problems. I think they were up to 9 players on the COVID list plus a coach. Now, we should, again, all their stars are still playing. Batherson, at least for now. This is 10 a.m. This is before morning skates and all that. They still have the ongoing COVID issue, so who knows what the lineup might look like even 3 hours from now. But, Batherson, Norris, Tkachuk, Shabbat, all those guys look to, at least for now, be off the COVID list. So there's some pushback, but the Ottawa depth has just been completely gutted here. Pittsburgh, maybe they get a little bit overlooked here because it is a 3.1 total, but they are on the road. And then, Pittsburgh 3.6 on the road, and you have Winnipeg 3.3 at home. You have a monster Colorado favorite at home. So maybe Pittsburgh gets a little bit overlooked here. I kind of like the Penguins side. What do you think about this game, Josh?
Yeah, I like the Penguins in this game again. And I know I used Pittsburgh 1 the other night for the first time this season. I only use them like 3 times a season. They always bust for me, but like I like going back to Pittsburgh 1 here. They're not super expensive. Like Brian Russ still 5,500, Gensel under 7K, Carter is what it is at 6,600, but they fully correlate. The Sens are a mess. We could get an update where like 4 more players go into protocol, and the player association is just like, yeah, it's fine, let's play. And they're gonna have some just like gutted version of their gutted lineup already. So I think, this is a game that you really need to pay attention to the news in the morning to see what's going on with the Senators, because even as it is, I like the Penguins, but if they take more, because like, I don't think they're going to get anyone back, because I think most of the guys were symptomatic too. So who knows what's going on with the Sens? Like this is an important game to monitor news. So Pittsburgh 1, maybe, up there for me is some of my favorite spots tonight. It's a big slate, so, lots to choose from, but Pittsburgh 2 as well. Like they're a good filler line tonight. Zucker, Evan Rodriguez, 7,500, the 2-man power play 2, Kapanen on that line, 4,100, super cheap. So top 6 of Pittsburgh. I'm gonna wait to see some Senators news, but if Sanford's still up with Tkachuk and Norris, not my favorite spot for the Senators. Pittsburgh has 3 pretty good defensive lines.
Yeah, that's the one thing kind of keeping me away from Ottawa, is that it's not really a great matchup for them. It's not like Pittsburgh is a team that's trading chances like maybe like a Florida Panthers team or something like that. Pittsburgh's been pretty good lockdown defensively, so I agree with you there. I don't have a ton, at least among the Ottawa forwards, I don't have a ton of interest in stacking the Ottawa forwards. The Pittsburgh top line have been really good this year. 3.5 expected goals per 60 minutes, over 70 shot attempts per 60 minutes. Now we're talking a sample of maybe 5 games, but all those guys have had success with different line mates, with different teammates in the past that they'd have success together is not surprising to me. Ottawa is a bottom 10 team defensively. Bottom 10 by almost every single metric, bottom 5 penalty kill. Like this is a game where I think Pittsburgh could come in and really roll them at, maybe half the ownership of Colorado or third the ownership of Colorado or something like that. So Pittsburgh 1 is definitely one of my favorite stacks on the night. On the blue line, I think obviously Thomas Chabot has got to be, it's got to be not at the top of your list, but he's definitely going to be playing close to 30 minutes, and anybody getting that kind of volume obviously is somebody that needs to be recognized. Chris Letang is real expensive at 7,200. Anybody else stick out to you besides correlating?
Not really. I just want to say Lassie Thompson. That is not a real person. Like that is just a made up person. Same with Igor Sokolov and Parker Kelly. Like the Senators are just creating players to put in their lineup tonight.
They remind me of like the New Jersey Devils of like 2018 when like the bunch of guys who get called up and you're like, these aren't guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
These aren't real.
Get access to all the great Awesemo Plus tools and content for nearly every DFS sport out there with an Awesemo Plus weekly pass for $29.95. This includes full access to all the premium content and tools on Awesemo.com, including player projections, ownership projections, our premium Discord, lineup builder, and a whole lot more. If you're a new user of Awesemo Plus Platinum, then you can take advantage of the promo code we have for this show, which is NHL Strategy Show, all caps, all one word. That's NHL Strategy Show for 25% off your first week of Awesemo Plus Platinum. You can find the link to activate this coupon in the description of the video below. Of course, if you're only looking to play NHL DFS, then you can sign up for one of our Awesemo Plus NHL packages for as low as $3.95 a week. Stop guessing, start winning. Join Awesemo Plus today. That's promo code NHL Strategy Show, all caps, all one word for first-time Awesemo users. Let's get to our next game. Montreal, 2.7 implied goal total. They're going into Detroit. The Red Wings have a 2.9 implied goal total. I think there might be something to like on both sides of this game, despite there only being a 5.5 over under. Obviously, they're probably going to come in at lower ownership than some other spots because of that total, and that's another thing that interests me here. So what do you think about this game, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, we're here 9 a.m. Saturday morning. I've recommended some Sabres. I'm about to recommend some Red Wings. It's going to be a great day.
Are you sure you're drinking Bang? Did you
cotton candy,
little Kahlua in there or something? No,
maybe. I don't know. But yeah, no, I do like this top line for the Wings tonight. They're fully correlated on the power play. Their prices come down a little bit. They're in the 17s to full stack. The thing that draws me there really is, there's a 5-on-5 matchup that doesn't really bother me, but Montreal's penalty kill is pretty bad. They take a good amount of penalties. So I do really like Detroit top line tonight. You don't have to go crazy. Like the Wings aren't a very good team. Like don't go crazy, but they're definitely in my mix. I would consider them in, if I was making 5 lineups, I'd probably have them in one. I also like the Suter Fabry 2-man. If you're looking to fit in some expensive stuff, they're 6,900 2-man. They get the power play too. If you want to throw in Zadina, that's fine. Like they're under 10K to full stack tonight. Like I think they may be a pretty popular filler. Like I don't understand how they're under 10K, but it is what it is. So yeah, I like the top 6 of Detroit. And then on the Montreal side, like I'm not super thrilled about playing Canadians, but that Hoffman, Suzuki, Toffoli line has been playing good recently, and they're not expensive and they fully correlate. So, I think you can go there. If you want to go to Dvorak, Anderson, I think that's fine as well as a 2-man, or even adding Gallagher. They're a cheap filler. They haven't been great, but Dvorak after the first few games of the season kind of fell off a little bit here, but maybe he bounces back. So I like the top 6 on both sides, even though it's a 5.5 total.
Yeah. Okay. This is where I'm kind of sitting with this game, is that I think it's a great special teams matchup for Detroit. Montreal is one of the most penalized teams in the league. I think they're top 10 or 11th or something like that. So definitely well above average. And they also have an awful penalty kill, bottom 10 but in the league. So like that's not a very good mix for this Montreal team going on the road. And that's kind of driving me not a lot to Detroit, but I will have some of them here tonight. Some of the top line, Raymond, Bertuzzi, and Larkin. I just think it's a great special teams matchup. And with the 2.9 total, they're going to come in so far lower owned than, your Torontos, your Winnipegs, your Colorados, that I think it's a really nice spot to get one of the best special teams matchups, I think, on the entire slate. So that Detroit top line for me, if you don't want to spend a lot of money just on a special teams matchup, I get it. The second line is just fine. Like you said, Suter and Zadina, a super cheap 2-man, or you can go a little bit more expensive with Fabry. I think they're going to get the better matchup too, right? Because Larkin went out last game against the top line. I think they're going back to that until, all their players get healthy. So that probably means the second line against Montreal's second line. And, Brendan Gallagher's there now with Dvorak. I think that might be a little bit tougher defensively. So I'm not as high on Detroit 2 as I was. I'm probably going to be like 10% them and 10% Detroit top power play unit through my 20 lineups. On the Montreal side, I'm with you. I think the top line is fine to stack here. I'm not super high on them. They're not high on my priority list because it's 2.7 total, but I do think they're just fine to use. On the blue line, Moritz Seider, obviously, if you're correlating, Philip Hronek's price is starting to climb up a little bit. I don't really love that for a guy that's not getting top power play time. Anybody else stick out to you?
Not really. If you need a min price punt, Brett Kulak is probably fine. Even Nick Leddy at 2,700 isn't the worst. Like if you really need to dumpster dive for a defenseman tonight, but I'm not really itching to play defenseman from this game outside of Seider and Detroit 1 stacks.
Yeah, completely agree with that. So let's move along then. Florida, 2.7 implied goal total. They're going into Tampa Bay. The Bolts have a 2.9 implied goal total. I was writing the Power Plays article last night for today, and I saw a very obvious spot immediately, especially once the pricing came out. I think we're probably both going to talk about that, but why don't you talk about the Tampa Bay side first here, Josh? Is there anything on that side that interests you?
It's just hard to get behind Tampa Bay right now. I don't want to use the Steven Stamkos line. Like Stamkos at center is like if I'm going to use Tampa any slate, it's probably going to be in a power play stack. It's just hard to full stack. If you want to stack that top line, I'm not going to tell you no. Like it's fairly reasonable. Like Cirelli's only 3,500, Palat's 4,400, Point is in the mid sixes. So like if you want to have Tampa 1 in your MME mix, that's fine. Or you want to mix in Stamkos for some power play, that's fine. Like I don't know if this is the matchup that I really want to, load in all the Tampa. So for me, like I feel bad because I feel like a broken record every time Florida plays, but Florida 2, super cheap. Huberdeau, Bennett, power play 1, the combo's under 10,000. Owen Tippett, not a bum, 2,800. So like here we are again, like broken record, just every slate, Florida 2, Florida 2, Florida 2. And everyone gets annoyed, but like, what are you going to do? They're 12 something. It's a good matchup. You want to go to that Florida top line? That's fine. Like they're very good 5-on-5. The power play correlation is kind of bad. I don't understand why Verhaeghe doesn't see power play time, but we don't have time to, argue about that. So for me, Florida 2, some Florida 1, and some Tampa power play.
Yeah, I just, what's kind of hesitating me, it's not Florida's price or necessarily even strength matchup. I just hate going into Andre Vasilevsky. You know what I mean? When I have the choice, I'd prefer not to have to shoot against, maybe the best goalie in the world, certainly amongst the top 3. That's kind of what's keeping me away from any of Florida here, really. Like I have Sam Bennett in my Power Plays article, and it's because he's 4,600. And that line has played so well this year and, dating back to last year. They haven't kept up the defensive numbers, but the offensive numbers are still really good for that Florida second line. And they're going to get that Stamkos matchup. And at 4,600, I think that's just really good for Sam Bennett. It's just what worries me is, again, going into that defense and going into Andre Vasilevsky, like it might be easier matchups up front, but there's still tough matchups on the blue line and in net. And I think that's where that 2.7 total is coming from, even though, Tampa Bay's forward group has thinned out a little bit. So I'm going to tamp down my Florida 2 because I have them as one of the best values right now, matchup independent. So I'm going to have to tamp them down a little bit, but I do like them. On the Tampa Bay side, they're just too expensive for me. Braden Point, I don't even know if he's a $6,400 player right now. You know what I mean? And Steven Stamkos, okay, like I can get away with some, if you want to one-off Steven Stamkos, because Florida does take a lot of penalties, I'm fine with that. Put Stamkos and Killorn together. I'm fine with that for some power play exposure. But I'm not running out to play Tampa. I'm not really running out to play either side of this game. So maybe a little bit of Florida 2 maybe a little Tampa power play stack. That's about it for me. On the blue line, it looks like Eric Chernak may be out tonight for Tampa Bay. And if Chernak is out, that probably means a lot more minutes for, your Sergachevs and your McDonoughs. So I think, McDonough, I think, is overpriced at 4,200. Sergachev, 4,500, maybe some more minutes. I think that's definitely doable. On the Florida side, definitely probably just correlating, Ekblad with my Florida stacks.
Daffy Duck.
Ekblad. So other than that, any other defensemen stick out?
Well, even though my fiance is right here, we love a good ass here at Awesemo.com. Radko good ass, 3,000, not too bad.
All right, perfect. We do love a Radko good ass here at Awesemo. We have partnered with Yahoo Fantasy this NHL season to bring you some great offers. Check out our exclusive limited time offer, which gets you 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. To qualify, you need to be new to Yahoo, sign up for an account via the link below, deposit and play. That's it. Yahoo will send us your name after you play in your first paid contest, and we will reach out via email with your coupon. If you need immediate access, email support@awesemo.com and we'll get you set up. You could also claim a free $10, which can be used to enter any Yahoo contest. That free $10 is below, by the way. Make sure to use our DFS tools and projections designed specifically for Yahoo to give yourself the best shot at winning big. All right. Yahoo first-time users get a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. Not a bad little deal through the description in the link below, or the link in the description below. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through this one, Josh.
We're gonna do
New York Rangers 3.0 implied goal total. They're going into Columbus. The Jackets have a 2.7 implied goal total. Columbus played last night, and Jonas Korpisalo started. So I imagine that means Mr. Lickens is going to be in net for Columbus here tonight. Presumably Igor Shesterkin is going to start for the Rangers, and I have him written up as one of my favorite goalies on the night in my Power Plays article. All right, Josh, we often talk about how much of a mess the Rangers are, but they're getting a back-to-back Columbus team. Can the Rangers get it done on the road tonight? Is there anything worthwhile from DFS here?
Yes.
Yes, I love it.
Yes, I'm excited. Because the Jenner is probably going to go out a good bit against Mika and Kreider. And if you want to use them, that's fine. They're a little expensive for me on the road. For me, I am going to the second line here. Panarin, Strome, Capo Caco. They're not super expensive. They're in the 13s, the full stack. You get top power play with Panarin and Strome. Panarin doesn't have a 5-on-5 goal this season. It's coming tonight. Tonight, he's scoring. I hate going against Mr. Lickens, but they're probably going to get a decent amount of this Sillinger matchup, which is going to be pretty high event. So I like Rangers 2 tonight. If you want to go to Rangers 1, fine. Like, I'm not going to tell you no. I always prefer Rangers 2. And then on the Columbus side, like, yeah, it's back-to-back on the road, but I don't mind Jenner Bjorkstrand, but again, like, I hate stacking against Igor. I'm probably going to have a fair bit of Igor tonight. So on a 12 gamer, I'll be pretty low on Columbus. Just they played yesterday. I hate Columbus. It's not even Torts. So, but if you want to have some top 6 Columbus, I think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I think the matchup here to attack is the Jenner versus Zibanejad, right? Zibanejad and Kreider just haven't looked great together this year. And in fact, I think we talked in Discord about how Zibanejad just hasn't been the same since Buchnevich left, really. Sorry to bring that up again. But just, they just haven't looked that good. And if you look at, the top line's numbers are like 47 or 48% shot share or something like that. Being below water shot share as a top line on your team is not good. And Columbus's top line, Jenner and those guys are going to get that matchup. So I do have Boone Jenner as a decent, he's playing 20 to 21 minutes every night, right? Like every night. So he's a threat for the shot bonus every night, even if he's not a massive shot volume threat himself. So I do like Jenner and Bjorkstrand and those guys. Nyquist's price came up from 2,500 to 2,600. So I don't mind that Columbus top line, but I agree with you on the Rangers second line. They're coming in as one of the best second line like filler values on the slate for me and my personal projections. I had them right up there with one of the Seattle lines and with Florida too. So yeah, I absolutely love that Rangers second line here tonight. Like you said, they're going to get that Sillinger Chinnikov matchup, and that's going to be at worst a neutral matchup for the Rangers, if not an advantageous one for them. The only problem is if Mr. Lickens shuts the door. But I do like the price on that Rangers second line. So I do like them here tonight. Columbus top line for me out of that game. On the blue line, Jake Bean, even 3K. I think we can go back to that spot. Anybody else stick out to you? Zach Fox. Adam Fox at 7,500 that's pricey for me on the road.
Yeah, I'm not interested in Fox that price. K'Andre Miller, min price, you could do worse. It's really about it. Trouba is still over 5K. When he gets down into like the low fours, then I'll use him. But Jake Bean is the guy for me.
All right, good enough. I love Bean too. Los Angeles Kings, they're going into Winnipeg. Los Angeles has a 2.4 implied goal total. The Winnipeg Jets have a 3.3 implied goal total. I'm probably going to write up Nikolai Ehlers in my Power Plays article. He's been a huge shot volume guy. Probably going to see a little bit of that second line from the Kings tonight. That Kings second line has been high paced this year. We've talked about that. But again, the Scheifele and Wheeler line has been better, better defensively this year, especially since they added Adam Lowry. What do you think about this matchup? Is there anything to like from the 2.4 implied goal total Kings, or does this kind of align with what you think of this game?
Yeah, I see in our lineup builder that Ehlers is with Scheifele and Wheeler. I'm not sure about that, but we'd have to wait for some morning skate. I don't know if they skated together in the third period, and they, I would assume that's what the case is, but we'll wait to see lines there. I would assume he's with Kopp and Jansen Harkins, at least to start. We'll see morning skate, but yeah.
Yeah, they did put Ehlers with him for about 4 or 5 shifts.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah. But yeah, Nikolai Ehlers is 5,800 power play. Like, it's cheap. Like, I would love to play Kyle Connor, but for 1,600 savings, like Nikolai Ehlers is where I probably go there with Kopp. Like, yeah, Jansen Harkins is there, but like you could 2-man Kopp Ehlers and put him with Neil Pionk, and you get a 3-man on the power play. It's just really hard to full stack on Winnipeg right now with the way the lines are. If you want to use Scheifele Wheeler, that's fine. You want to use Connor Dubois, that's fine. If you want to use Ehlers, Kopp, that's fine. Like, but the 2-man that I like the most on the Winnipeg side would be Kopp Ehlers. On the Kings side, it's a low total, but again, like, I'm gonna go back to Kings 2 here. Deneau is still 3,500. He's been shooting the puck a lot more this season, which is nice to see. Anthony Ciu's getting up there for him. I mean, he was under 3K to start when he came back from the injury, but I follow coming off a donut, still 5,300. I don't mind them. I don't know if the Kings are really going to be a priority for me, being a 2.4 total on the road on a 12 gamer, but I'll sprinkle in some Kings 2, maybe even some Kings 1, but I think from this game, it's going to be Kopp Ehlers.
Yeah, I do like that Kopp Ehlers combo as well. That's the combo that I have written up in the Power Plays article for today. But again, we're just doing this before they have line rushes, right? We just won't know. They did, like I said, they did put Ehlers with Scheifele and Wheeler for a handful of shifts at the end of the last game. So maybe they go back to that. But Winnipeg seems like a team to me where they might mix up their lines a bit during the game, but they always seem to revert back to their tried and tested and, the lines that Paul Maurice likes. So I think they're going to go back to Ehlers and Kopp with Harkins, but we'll find that out anyways in a little bit. Anyways, we're going to have to see what those lines are, because if Scheifele and Wheeler are playing with Ehlers, I really like that combination a lot. So that's where I would go in that specific combination. On the blue line, I don't know if there's anybody that sticks out to me specifically in this game, because there's a lot of value sharing between Schmidt, Morrissey, and Pionk on the Winnipeg blue line. And then for LA, like, there's just nobody getting it done since Doughty and Walker got hurt.
Nobody?
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Nobody?
Don't say it.
I won't say it.
As soon as I saw that face, I knew exactly what I was walking into.
Mikey Anderson. All right, moving on.
Yeah. No Mikey Anderson.
No, don't play Mikey Anderson. Seriously, like, he might not have another combo meal until 2037. So, like,
fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, we got to keep it moving then. Odd shoppers changing the way you approach sports betting. Shop to find the best line available. Shopping to find the best line available is always important, but Odd Shopper allows you to find the best bet in 30 seconds or less. Through its powerful filtering mechanism, Odd Shopper quickly delivers bets that you want to make right to your fingertips. Click the link in the description of this video to head on to Odd Shopper and check out its innovative e-commerce inspired platform right now. There are hundreds of bets to make from, all updated, all in real time. So and a lot of the NFL and NBA player props are derived straight from Awesemo's DFS projections. So you can find the best edges on player props, 100% free, no sign up required. Check out Odd Shopper over at Awesemo. All right, let's get to these next games. Seattle 2.7 implied goal total. They're going into Carolina. The Carolina Hurricanes have a 3.0 implied goal total. Carolina played last night. Freddie Anderson started for them. We got a Seth Jarvis goal called back that really kind of hurt us. But let's put all that aside and let's look at this game. I see this coming in. It's going to be favored to hit over 5.5 on the total. I think there are lines up and down both lineups to like here. So why don't you tell us what you like out of this game, Josh?
Yeah. The Blues moved Perron away from Ryan O'Reilly. Okay. I mean, I kind of like that going back to the Carolina top line here, but like they're going to get O'Reilly and Buchnevich is there instead of Perron. And like Buchnevich is a pretty good two-way forward. So I don't know how much on a back-to-back I'm going to have Carolina one. I think I like I'm mixing it up again. They're going to send out Stahl against O'Reilly. So I do like the Aho Svechnikov combo. I don't know, like Bozak, Saad, Perron, Thomas, Tarasenko, Barbashev. Like, yeah, the Blues are a deep team, but like those lines don't really scare me defensively. So I think you can go back to the Aho line here. But for me, like the line that I like the best here is Trocheck, Teravainen. Kotkaniemi's down to min price. You don't have to include him. You can just go Trocheck, Teravainen, and Tony D for a 3-man power play stack here. Not that the Blues take a ton of penalties, but 9,300 for Trocheck, Teravainen. Like Trocheck's price just keeps going down, and it's kind of like the Sam Bennett situation. It's just the price that's drawing me there. So Carolina 1, Carolina 2 in play for me. I like Carolina 2 better just from price because they are back-to-back. On the Blues side, I don't mind O'Reilly, Buchnevich, Kyrou. Like, I kind of like that line, and they're not super expensive at all. You want to have some Saad, Perron, that's fine. Some Tarasenko, Thomas, that's fine. But I think I'm going to stick to the Blues top line. But this is I'm not going to have anything like primarily in 1 to 3 lineups out of this game. This is more of an MME game for me.
Yeah, I'll just say right out, I'm not super excited about those St. Louis lines, and I'm not super excited about the matchup. And I'm not super excited about the total, 2.7 total. Like, we have Minnesota, New York, Pittsburgh, Toronto with higher implied goal totals on the road. Florida, Montreal with the same implied goal total. So it's like, I don't feel a need to be like, oh, I got to go and play Thomas and Tarasenko tonight. I just don't feel that need, especially where, these lines could all look different by the second period of that game, right? If Carolina gets up 2 or 3-0, they're changing those lines again. So I'm not super excited about St. Louis, especially with those new lines. I'm going right back to that Carolina top line. That Thomas Tarasenko line, they're probably going to see a fair bit of that matchup. And the Thomas Tarasenko line has been good offensively, but they've been giving up a lot of chances at the other end too, like north of 70 shot attempts per 60 minutes, that's porous defensively. That's real bad defensively. So I do like going right back to that all whole line. Seth Jarvis, buddy, we believe in you. Hopefully you can bring us to the promised land. Like, listen, Seth Jarvis stayed on the top line the entire game last night. The entire game. He only played 14 minutes, but I think we kind of expected that. That's the way it goes with
place either.
Yeah, he looked good. Yeah, exactly. So right back to that Carolina top line. On the blue line, obviously if you're correlating, just fine. Jacob Slavin down to 4K. I think as long as Brett Pesci's still out of the lineup, Jacob Slavin, for sure, love him at 4K. Justin Falk, 4,800. Carolina takes a lot of penalties, so Justin Falk is a one-off. Makes sense to me here tonight.
Yeah, I like Justin Falk, and I hate that I keep liking Justin Falk, but his price keeps going down, and he's playing like 400 minutes a night. So I think Justin Falk is perfectly acceptable at 4,800.
Yeah. All right. Good enough. Let's keep this moving then. Arizona, 2.1 implied goal total. They're going into Nashville. The Predators have a 3.6 implied goal total. I see Jake Harry in chat. I'm pretty sure he woke up early and got into chat just to listen to us break down this game. Nashville, obviously, with that implied total, Arizona being back-to-back on the road, and Arizona may be starting Carter Hutton here tonight. He's back from injury and has joined the team on this road trip, so he might be starting, and he has a sub 900 save percentage over his last 90 games. Nashville assuredly going to be one of the highest owned spots on the entire slate. So how are you going to navigate this team, Josh?
Full send. No, but like they're in that price range where like you can just put in Nashville 1 and get creative. I'm not saying go all in on them. We got to see ownership. If they're coming in at like 25% on a 12-game slate, then you're going to have to make some choices here. But Granlund, Duchesne have incredible numbers together. They're actually putting the puck in the net, which is nice to see. And they're only 11-8 for the two of them. You throw in Luke Cunnin for 3,400, and like they're probably going to even be one of the top values. Like they're not super expensive. They're getting Arizona back-to-back on the road. The only thing nice you could say about the Coyotes is they're a team, I guess. Like maybe.
There are a lot of players there.
Yeah, there's some players there. There's, Andrew Ladd. But yeah, Nashville 1, favorite spot of the night. I think you just have to be wary of ownership. We'll see what the ownership runs look like. If for whatever reason, if they're coming in around like 10%, they're my favorite spot of the night. Even if they're, 15, 20, I think there's enough ways to get different on this slate. So Nashville 1, favorite spot. You want to get lower owned in a high, total. You can, two-man Taylor Jeannot and Philip Tomasino. They don't really get too much power play time, but there's not much, 5-on-5 that's scary for the Yotes. And if it is Carter Hutton, I don't understand how he's, still getting games in the NHL. Like, yeah, he's a way better goalie than I'd ever be in my life, but under 9 save percentage over the last 90 games is just horrific. So Jeannot been shooting a bunch. Tomasino, min price, power play 2, 5,700. If you want to get in an expensive power play stack, I think that is acceptable as well. Out on the Coyotes.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Jeannot Tomasino, because that's kind of what I had circled. Because like the Nashville top line is going to be super high owned tonight. I don't think we have to explain why they're a good option for this slate. We only have so many minutes. It's the Nashville third line, right? We often talk about, or second line, I guess, depends how you want to look at it. We often talk about in the super high owned situations, you want to dump down maybe the second or third lines, because those lines are more likely to score than they usually are as well, right? It's not just the top line that's more likely to score or score higher. So yeah, I love Nashville 1. Wouldn't, the Duchesne Granlund duo, especially, not going to begrudge anybody for using them. I'm going to have some of them, but I think that Nashville 3 duo you talked about is going to be more of my focus as a filler in this game, because like I could see them doing a lot of damage against the terrible Arizona depth, because honestly, after you get past their top pair, their top line, their depth is really struggling this year. On the blue line, obviously Roman Josi, lock button. I don't know, he's super expensive, 8,300, but I don't know how you get away from it. Obviously, if you're not stacking Nashville and if you don't want to play an 8,300 defenseman, I get that. But I think you still got to strongly consider him in this matchup. What do you think?
I agree. And just real quick, I forgot to mention it. Arizona's penalty kill is terrible. So Eli Tolvanen is going to be an interesting one-off tonight, even though he's on the fourth line. I think you can put him in with Granlund, Duchesne, and leave off what's his face, Luke Cunning, to get a little bit different. And, you know, that's an interesting way to get some lower own action on this game. But yeah, if you're using Nashville, like, you got to use Yossi tonight. Like, if he was 9,500, I'd still use Yossi tonight in my Nashville stacks. Like, it's just gonna happen. On the Coyote side, like, no thanks.
Yep. Perfect. I like the way you described that. I see the number of people watching is growing. So if you guys could throw us a thumbs up, give us a like, and click that subscribe button as well. Help us look good for the bosses. And just want to remind everybody that we do have some shows coming up. NBA Strategy is up next right after us with Emac and Gundacker. And then we have College Live Before Lock at 11 Eastern. That is followed by MMA Live Before Lock at 12 Eastern. Those shows are followed by 90 minutes of NFL and then 2.5 hours of NBA Deeper Dive and Live Before Lock, beginning with Stephen Eaton's Deeper Dive at 5 Eastern. So lots of stuff coming up, whether it's NBA, college football, MMA, NFL, what have you. Be sure to keep it locked all day here at Awesemo. All right, we got 4 more games to get to. Let's get through these games. The Josh Bowl here tonight. Philly, 2.6 implied goal total. They're going in Dallas. The Stars have a 3.1 implied goal total. Philly played last night. Carter Hart stood on his head, actually. Was wonderful. That means Party Marty Jones is going to start for the Flyers tonight in all likelihood, going into Dallas. Dallas changed up their lines last game. Guess what? They put Ben and Sagan back together after breaking up Gurianov and Sagan after like 7 minutes. So assuming Pavelski and the Hintz line together, the Ben and Sagan line together, and then Philly's lines, we'll know when the coach talks here in about 8 hours. What do you like out of this game, Josh?
Yeah. So if Dallas sends out Radek Faxa against Philly 1, that leaves Rupe Fiasco going out against
that's not, I don't think that's the way it's going to work out. The last couple of games they've been sending out hints against the top line. Sorry, buddy. Yeah.
Party Marty.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to use hints of Pavelski too. I don't think tonight's the night though.
Oh, we got to see lines, because if they that makes me angry. Because like, I don't want to play Sagan, Radulov, Ben. Like, they're like, I
think I'd rather play the Flyer side, going into Ben Sagan and Radulov.
Yeah, like, give me the line going into them, like Oscar Lindblom, Burchard, Atkinson. Like I don't want to use the Flyers back to back on the road, but like Sagan, Ben, Radulov is just old. Like, I don't know how else to describe them. They're just like old and slow. If you've watched any Dallas Stars games this season, it's just like, it's almost painful to watch them play.
Like, they used to be an elite line. This year they're 47% shot share, 42% expected goal share. It's just awful. It sucks to watch, honestly.
Yeah, they're brutal. So like, give me Philly too. I like them. Oscar Lindblom, min price. Brassard's down at 3,600. Cam Atkinson, 5,400. Like, they're cheap. I'm sad now that I can't use Hintz, Pavelski, Robertson, but that kind of,
especially, I should mention Ryan Ellis is probably going to be back for the Flyers tonight as well.
Yeah, and that's a big boost for them. Like, he is the bomb.com. So like, Philly 2 from this game, really. Philly 1 is interesting as well. Like, Hintz, Pavelski, Robertson has good offensive numbers, but don't want to go in that Couturier matchup, and that Couturier line has been pretty good.
Yeah, I think the Philly top line is what's interesting me most out of this game. I don't want Hintz going against Couturier, that's for sure. And I'm not playing that Ben Sagan line. And like, maybe I'm like, Guryanov's going to play like 6 minutes or something like that, so he's not worth it. Like, I think, a Philly second line going into Ben and Sagan, I think it's just fine. But I think the Philly top line, which has been really good this year, And they're perfectly correlated on the power play. I shouldn't say really good. Over 50% expected goal share, 59% shot share, which is really good, not elite. Yeah, do like that Philly top line going up into Dallas. On the blue line, there's really nobody that sticks out for me on either side. I guess, Ellis could be a sneaky start because he's got that out tag on DraftKings, and he may not get announced in until warmups. But they said that he's probable to play tonight. So,
yeah, I do like Ellis, especially if he plays. If he doesn't play, I don't like him. But yeah, Ellis, Rasmus Ristolainen, 3,500 is not the worst. Dallas prices are just crazy. So I guess Ryan Suter at 3,300 is okay, but not really itching to play some Ryan Suter tonight.
Yeah, I'm not itching to play any of the Dallas defensemen, honestly. So let's move it along to the next game. San Jose, 2.5 implied goal total going into Colorado. The Avs have a 3.7 implied goal total. The Avs exploded in their last game, 7-1, I believe. Their top 4 defensemen are back. They thought Bowen Byram might have had a concussion, but he skated yesterday in a regular jersey in practice, so I imagine he's going to be in the lineup and be just fine. I'm going to say right out of the gate, I imagine Colorado 1 has a lot of ownership here tonight, but I absolutely love Colorado 2, one of my favorite filler stacks on the night. So that's all I'm going to say about this game. What do you think, Josh?
I agree. And even if the Sharks get all their players back from the COVID list, it doesn't matter. Maybe it help. Like, it's nice to know that Couture is going to have Timo Meier back, and that's going to help him a bunch, but this isn't the time for it. And I agree. Colorado 2 is in a great spot tonight. They're super cheap. Like, they're 12-2. You get Burakovsky on the top power play, Kadri Nichushkin, power play 2. You want to go to Colorado 1, that's perfectly fine. I think you can power play stack, leave Confer Jonfer off and put in Burakovsky if you want. Just be aware that I have a very strong bias against Confer, and something I need to work on with my therapist that Awesemo is paying for. But you can leave Confer in, you can put Burakovsky in, that's fine. But Colorado 2, one of my favorite fillers in the night. I'm out on the Sharks. I need to see how they play with their guys back first. This isn't a great matchup either, but I will save the Couture-Meyer matchup for another day.
Yeah, that Colorado second line has just been really good in their history together. I wrote it up in the Power Plays article that I'm going to have. They've controlled 60% of the shot attempts and generating over 74 shot attempts per 60 minutes together. So that Colorado second line has just been great. The San Jose second line has been underwater by expected goals. So I really do like that matchup for Colorado too. But again, if you want to go to the Colorado top line, not a lot of problems there. Next game, Vancouver, 2.5 implied goal total. They're going into Vegas. They have a 3.1 implied goal total. Vancouver, their penalty kill is awful. Their defense is pretty bad. This seems like a good spot for Vegas. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, without knowing ownership, I can tell you that the Smith Marshall line is going to be overowned tonight. Like, it's just going to happen. I guess, depending on ownership, I think they're fine. Nicholas Roy's price has come up to 4,000. He's been in the 3s for the past few weeks, but if their ownership's in check, like, I do like that Vegas top line. I also like the 2-man. Even I like that second line, like the Stevenson, Dadonov, Keegan Kolesar. Like, they're even cheaper than the top line. They're still gonna, get some power play time, so I don't mind going to them. On the Vancouver side, like, if you want to go to that top line for Vancouver, I think that's fine. But, like, I'm not super high on playing a team on the road with a 2.5 total on a 12-game slate. Their prices have come down.
That has looked bad all year, by the way.
Awful, yeah. So if you want to have some Canucks, like, sure, but I'm probably not going to have much from the Canucks tonight.
Yeah, Vegas, if I'm not mistaken, they just don't take a ton of penalties either, right? Yeah. So I'm out on Vancouver. We just got an ownership run, and you're right. Vegas' top line's 8% top 2 stack, but 13% owned. So they are going to be very popular here tonight. But I agree with you. I do like them. All right, let's get to our final game real quick. Minnesota, 2.9 implied goal total. They're going into Seattle. Seattle has a 2.8 implied goal total. They changed up the lines last game. Alex Wenberg went back to the top line with Schwartz and Eberle. I think he's going to stay there. That Gord line stayed about the same. Minnesota looks to be a really good defensive team with pretty good lines. What do you think, Josh?
This is a tough game. Like both teams are pretty decent defensively. I do like the Minnesota top six. Like I like these iterations of these lines. I'm not sure this is the time to like really go heavy, but I think you can have some Minnesota 1, you can have some Minnesota 2. I do like that Seattle second line. It's just, I don't know if this is the spot to really go crazy. I think this is a decent MME game. I don't think there's going to be anything in 1 to 3 that I'm going to prioritize.
Yeah, I might have, some one-offs. I don't mind a two-man Fiala Eriksson Ek. Those two have wonderful chemistry going back years, not just this season. So Fiala Eriksson Ek is a two-man I'm going to look at, but I think this is going to be a defensive struggle. So it's going to be mostly one-offs out of this game for me. All right, that'll do it for me and for Josh for this slate for today. One, I'm going to ask you for your hat trick and your goalies. My hat trick pick is Kyle Connor, and my two favorite goalies are Igor Shesterkin and Andrei Vasilevsky. Who do you got?
I agree on the goalies. I'll throw Cal Peterson in the mix if it's him, just for a price. He's going to see some volume. And my hat trick pick is going to be Artemi Panarin. It's time.
There you go. The bread man is going to bring us the bread tonight. If he doesn't, hopefully Kyle Connor does. All right. That'll do it for us for today. We will be back, I believe, on Monday, but I'm going to have to double check that schedule. For myself, for producer Tyler, for our bounty hunter, Joshua Harris, good luck tonight, everybody, and we'll see you next week.